making bar number, it's either 14 or 16. Let me look. 16, the Lotion Bar. And this is what it looks like. Of course, I got my label in there, but it has chunks of different soaps in it that I make that gives it a very colorful appearance. I have not selected this bar for its beautification or anything, but we will see if I picked a particularly beautiful one by accident. So you can see, and it's got chunks of different soaps in there, and you can be very tedious about arranging them in the loaf a certain way, but I just chunk them in there. And when I package my soaps, I buy these little gusseted, that's called the pleat, gusseted 2 milligram or milliliter or something thickness, 2 mm thickness, with the gusseted sides. And these I think are 9 inches by 4 inches, something like that. Maybe it's 9 by 5. And I buy craft paper ties. I never use the other ones because it seems like the foil falls off the tie all the time. And then I put my business card in the front, and I put my label, paper label that I produce in the back, and then I stick 2 sets of holes for winter and 3 sets of holes in here for summer when they need more ventilation. So we're gonna make this soap today. And so what makes this different is not what is in the base oils. And you may have watched my bar number 6 video that I'm doing at the same time. So this has no superfats in it. It's 100, I've told the soap calculator to turn this 100% into soap. And this is my base recipe. And I use this base recipe for 90+% of all my soaping, okay? So it's not what's in the base recipe that makes this special when it comes to whether it's bar number 6 or bar number 16. It's what's in the additives. So as soapers, we want to find a good recipe that will be our base recipe that works really great, that makes a hard bar, a long-lasting bar, you know, a bubbly bar, that kind of thing. And then we want it to be pretty close on the moisturizing and creaminess, but then we're going to add our super fat. So it's what's in these super fats that makes this a different bar of soap, okay? And this one has argan oil in it, and avocado oil, and shea butter, and cocoa butter, and olive oil, and coconut oil, and glycerin, and vitamin E. And it's heavier on the glycerin, heavier on the vitamin E. So this is extra moisturizing. It comes up to 15%. So where this loaf here is going to be in between 8 and 10%, this one is going to be 15%. So when you wash with our Lotion Bar, basically your skin feels like that you don't need to add lotion. You feel super moisturized right from the shower. You can wash your hands with it, and your hands feel like you've just already added the lotion, and it's already like soaked in, and you're like an hour past, so you have no residue or anything. So we're going to go ahead and put our super fats in. And a Lotion Bar is a great soap to have during when the winter comes. So I highly recommend that you think about putting a Lotion Bar on your menu, you might say, during the winter months, because a Lotion Bar is 15% superfatted. Now, I think I do this. Let me make sure. Yes, warning, could cause tub or shower floor to be slippery. You know, there are some tubs that are just super slick, and this could cause that tub to be a little slicker. Just your average tub, you don't have any problem. But I put that little warning on there, not only to protect me, but to warn the customers that if you take a bath with this, this is commonly used a lot as a soap that you would just wash your hands with. people like doctors, nurses, teachers, people that work in the food industry. They sometimes need something because they wash their hands so much. They need something like this to wash their hands with so that they don't have to constantly put lotion on, which interferes with whatever they're doing, such as food industry. Putting on plastic gloves over fresh lotioned hands does not go so well. But in any case, this is a soap that's sold really well during the winter, and I try to spice it up by putting those chunks in there and making it fun, but you don't have to do that. You could do something totally different with color or design, but I will show you how I do it. Okay, so now I'm going to cut the soaps that I make to go in the lotion bar. And you can use a big butcher knife. You can always also use this. It's used in baking, but we use it in the soap industry. We use it for cutting soap, so it works really great for that. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut these soaps into squares. And so basically what I do is I'll take the tip off, if there is one, and then one, two, three. So now we have 3 sticks of soap. Ta-da. Okay, and then we will take 1, 2, and so now we have our squares. Okay, and as you can see, these are good sized chunks. If you get anything smaller than about like this, you end up with melting, and the cubes will melt and swirl into the soap, and so then you don't have soap embeds that are colorful. You just have swirls and chunks. So it's important to not let your chunks get too small, okay? And so this is that was bar number 10, my sinus soap. So just taking off the points and this is a, let's see what this is. This is a 4-cup measurer, I think it is. Let me see. We've had it for so long, it no longer tells me measurements. See, this is a 2-cup right here. So this is a 4-cup. And I find that when I have 4-cup measurer for a double batch, not for a single batch. For a single batch, you would want a 2-cup measurer rounded over, but for a double batch, which is what I'm making, I like to have a 4-cup measurer well rounded. So, and this is the difference here. This is a fresh bar, and this is an aged bar. And people talk about how my soap doesn't look gold like the soap in Africa. This is my black, or African black soap. There we go, African black soap. But after it sits and ages in the package, it turns golden, sort of a golden brown. But at first, it's very black from the ash, and I don't know what that is exactly. I don't know why that is. This bar does have a different base recipe because we're following the traditional base recipe of the African people. And some Africans got very upset with me for showing how to make black African soap in America. They were like, can't you leave us alone and let us have something that you can't make? But I wondered if in Africa all they make is black African soap, or if they make other kinds of soap too, or African black soap. I always mess that up. I mean, do they have rose scented soap? I mean, should they not be allowed to have rose scented soap if we make rose scented soap? I don't know, but they got all upset with me because of my tradition, showing how you could, you know, do it in America if you were American and didn't live in Africa. So anyway, so this right here is enough. It is a well-rounded 4-cup measurer with 6 bars of soap, okay? And that is what it takes. But your bars might be smaller or bigger than mine, so that's why I wanted to show you what it looked like in the measuring cup. Okay. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes since I added my additives and super fats. I'm doing 2 videos at the same time. This is our Lotion Bar, and this is bar number 6. So I thought I would just do a broad 1 clip for both videos. So basically, now you're going to see lots of melted super fats that have not blended. And so now your task is to stir, stir, stir until you get those super fats well blended into the soap. Okay, so that's what you're to do next. We've already put the super fats in and anything that was going to go in the super fats. So that's what our stage is now. We've waited about 15-20 minutes, and now I'm just going to go back and I'm going to continue stirring until all the super fats are well blended. Then I'm going to put my spoon back in and stick my lid where it can vent on both sides. And I'm going to use my candy thermometer here to check the temperature. And when bar number 6 gets to 160, I'm going to add my essential oils. When the Lotion Bar gets to 170, I'm going to add my chunks. Okay, everybody, I have used my candy thermometer by swirling it around to get an accurate reading of every part of the soap, and I'm specifically putting it in the center to let it read, and sitting there and waiting, and not letting it sit on the bottom of the crock pot. And so you can do this anywhere from 165 to 170. So now we're going to put in our chunks, and those have to go in first. You'd think it would be better to put in the scent, but if you put this room temperature soap in these chunks at 160 or 155 by the time you've stirred your essential oils in, it causes the temperature of the soap to drop so quickly that it will cause it to be very difficult to mold because it's just too cool. I've got a little bit of a soap crunchy in there that came off my spoon, I guess. And so I'm stirring those up, and when you put those in there, the temperature immediately drops because you're adding these soap chunks. And it usually will drop right down to 160, which is where I put in my essential oils. So let's see what happens. I'm still going to stick mainly to the center where it would be hotter. And where I was, 167, I think it was. Now I am just a few points shy of being 160 in that quick of a time period. So that's why it's real important that you add your soap chunks before it gets 160. All right, and so now we're going to add our essential oils. And one of the best ones for this particular recipe would be put like lemongrass and lavender in here. because lemongrass and lavender, lemongrass is a natural skin toner. You can read about it online. And lavender is considered one of the most healing essential oils for the skin. And this is a lotion bar, so having a couple of really healing soap essential oils in there would be awesome. And you could add a touch of ylang ylang to give it a tropical or exotic, that's the word, an exotic back note. That would be really good. So you could put, now this is a double batch, so for a single batch, 1 tablespoon lemongrass, 4 tablespoons lavender, and 1 tablespoon ylang ylang would be a good starting point. And then put that in your soap and smell it and see if you need a little bit more of the lemongrass or a little bit more of the ylang ylang. Lemongrass is very powerful, so it really shines in soap without having to add a lot, where your lavender really is so super healing, but it doesn't smell good in soap unless you put a good amount in. So if this was a double batch, we'd be going 2 ylang ylang to 8 lavender to 2 lemongrass. And if I was guessing, I would say if you like a floral note more, you would add possibly more lavender. And if you like the citrus to shine more, you would put more lemongrass. And your guess is as good as mine on the ylang ylang. That much ylang ylang would just give it a nice little exotic flair, but you might like it stronger, so you might end up putting more of the ylang ylang in. Now, I'm scooping down at the bottom. I'm really working hard to blend my essential oils without beating up my embeds. Okay, and now if you don't get this blended up well enough, your soap will weep essential oils on the curing rack. And so it's very important that you get them fully blended. And these have just soaked in really quick because this particular recipe has essential oils that's sort of powerful, so I don't have to have a lot to do the job. So that's good. So they soak in really fast. Now, one of the things I said about positioning is, you know, you can position some chunks right on the top when you're loading your bar. You know, try to get a few, but we're going to do a spoon thing where we try to bring up some of the chunks to sit on the top in the final product. And you can spend little or a lot of time with this. Just don't play with it till it gets too cold, and then you make it so stiff that you can't do anything with it. Okay, so now we're going to tap down. All right, and then I'm going to use a TEA spoon to sort of do a light swirl and position some of my chunks up on the top so that they show. But it's really not that important because when you cut it, the chunks are everywhere. But in any case, so like I'm going to push that orange one right there and fill that little spot in. And I've got some peeping here and there, all the way across. I'm gonna give it another tap because we have, you know, air spaces can build in that. And I've got a little bit more soap over here that's uncolored, sort of floating on the top. So that's a good little spree of chunks. Looks like I'm mainly getting the black ones. There's some of the green ones and the goldenish brown ones, but the orange ones, oh, there's one. I'm gonna take that little orange chunk and just chunk it right there and uncover the black one a little bit. Ooh, yeah, there's some nice ones. And this soap is so luxurious. I'm gonna try to tuck that right in there. Seemed like that chunk didn't have enough soap attached to it. It might cause it to dislodge during the cutting process. So there you go. There is our lotion bar. And tomorrow I'll cut that. And I've got more chunks showing, see, on this one than I do that one. You can work more with it. You can dig a few extra out and move them over. You could take one from here. Actually, we could do that. Let's take that one and poke it right there. This one seems to have an abundance of chunks. There's a green one. Let's put it right there and doctor it up. And then just reposition the soap here to where I don't see that I did that. So there you go. So there's our lotion bar. I will cut this tomorrow within 4 hours roughly of exactly the same time tomorrow. So it's 6 o'clock here. So I'll cut it anywhere from 3 o'clock on tomorrow, and it's good to cut them the next day when you're making hot process soap and you have a really good hard bar recipe. You can check out the recipes themselves at www.kimberlymatnut.com. And if you're so kind as to purchase some things from Essential Depot and use my link is there. My link is also on my webpage where I sell my soap at www.essential-soaps.com. ESSENTIAL-soaps, SOAPS.com. And you got to put that little dash between the words like you use for a phone number. All right, there you go. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. And remember, the base recipe is on KimberlyMatnut.com.